All right, everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive.
Always ready. What are we looking at today?
So, lately I've been seeing ashwagandha everywhere. Like it's suddenly the answer to all of life's problems.
The king of stress relief, some are saying.
Right. But is it all hype?
Mm.
We decided to put ashwagandha on trial, so to speak. Gather the
That's
evidence.
an interesting approach. I like it.
So, we read through a ton of research, studies, historical texts, all that, and well, the story's more complicated than the headlines make it seem.
That's usually the case, isn't it?
For sure. So to kick things off, ashwagandha has a long history in Ayurveda.
Yeah, it's been used for centuries as a general tonic to boost energy, vitality, all that.
Right, like a cure-all kind of thing. But we want to focus on this whole stress relief claim. And we found this study published in the Journal of Alternative and Complementary Medicine, and their results were pretty eye-opening. They reported that ashwagandha reduced stress scores, get this, by 28%.
28%.
Yeah, pretty significant, right?
That is notable. Though, gotta remember, every study has its limitations. Who were these participants?
Good point. This particular study, they focused on adults dealing with chronic stress. So, folks who are already under a lot of pressure.
Right, so we can't necessarily generalize to say someone whose stress is more occasional.
Okay, so one piece of the puzzle. What else did we find?
Well, this is interesting. There's research on ashwagandha and sleep, published in the journal Sleep, no less.
Sleep. I mean, we all know good sleep is crucial, but
Exactly. It ties into stress big time. This study found that ashwagandha seemed to improve sleep quality for a lot of the participants.
huh. It's funny. I've also heard people say ashwagandha gives them more energy.
Yeah, I've heard that too. And there's actually some evidence to back that up. A few studies suggest it might support mitochondrial function.
Mitochondria, those are the what? Energy factories in our cells?
Precisely. So if ashwagandha can help those function better, well, it makes sense you might feel more energized.
Okay, so we've got potential benefits for stress, sleep, energy.
Mhm.
It's starting to sound a bit too good to be true, honestly.
Fair enough. The question is, how is it working? This is where the term adaptogen comes in.
Right, everyone throws that word around,
It
but
can be kind of vague, yeah. Think of it like this. Adaptogens, they're like a buffer for your stress response system.
a buffer, huh?
Yeah, like they help your body handle stress, bounce back from it without getting totally thrown off balance.
So it's not about eliminating stress entirely.
No, it's more about building that resilience. And ashwagandha, the thinking is, it works by interacting with something called the HPA axis.
HPA axis, remind me.
It stands for hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. It's basically our central stress response system. Hormones, brain signals, the whole shebang.
Complicated stuff.
Yeah, it's complex. But the point is, ashwagandha seems to be able to modulate that system, make it less reactive.
Makes sense. So it's not just a quick fix. It's more about like long-term stress management.
Exactly. And that's important to keep in mind because a lot of times these days, people are looking for that instant solution.
Right. Pop a pill and all your worries disappear. But it doesn't really work that way.
Not usually, no. And that's why it's important to look at the science to see if the hype is warranted.
Well, speaking of science, I mean, there's a lot of talk about adaptogens being, I don't know, overhyped. Is there solid evidence for ashwagandha, or is it all marketing?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? There's definitely growing research, but it's still early days.
Wait.
Meaning some studies, like the ones we discussed, are showing promising results. But we need more research, especially large-scale, long-term studies to really confirm these findings.
So the jury's still out on ashwagandha being the ultimate stress reliever.
I'd say so. There's potential, but it's not a magic bullet. And this is crucial. Everyone's different. What works for one person might not work for another.
That's true for pretty much everything, though, right?
You got it. We can't forget that individuality factor.
All right, so let's say someone's listening, they're intrigued, they're thinking about trying ashwagandha. What would you recommend?
First off, do your research. Look into the different forms it comes in, the dosages, potential side effects. Talk to your doctor, especially if you have any health conditions or are taking medications.
Good advice. Safety first.
Absolutely. And if you do decide to try it, start slow. See how your body responds.
Makes sense. It's not a race. Right.
Nope. And I think it's important to remember this. Ashwagandha